Today on the Market Mindset Podcast, we have Flor Villegas. What an honor and privilege to be able to sit down and talk to her for a little while. She's located out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. She recently affiliated her and her team with Realty of America, and she talks about that and the role that Realty America is playing in this new up-and-coming generation of real estate professionals. She's a residential agent. She's also a builder and developer. Big believer in manifesting, big believer in being of service to others, and time management, one of the critical components, so important to her. So welcome, Flor Villegas. We look forward to getting feedback from her, looking forward to circling back and seeing her in a couple months, see where she is. Another incredible opportunity here on Market Mindset Podcast. I've got Flor Villegas. She's out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area. She's with Realty of America. And again, just Flor, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you have so much going on out there. You got this amazing social media presence. You're always hustling. I mean, I hope you have find some time to have some fun yourself, but thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started. Why do you love real estate?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you so much, Matt. So I actually been in the real estate industry for, oh my gosh, almost 20 years. I'm kind of telling my age now.
You started when you were 4.
I started when I was 4. I actually started right after high school. I started making flyers for a realtor, and then I got exposed to the industry and I loved the hustle and bustle of it. Then I moved to be a transaction coordinator, and then I ended up I moved to Texas during that time. I started in California, actually, in San Diego, California. And when I came here to Texas, I opened up a transaction coordinator company, and we were really like path makers in that. We were one of the first companies here in DFW that operated very independently as a team. So I had a team of 6 transaction coordinators. So we changed the way that TCs were used here in DFW.
Okay.
And that was back in 2016. And then fast forward, I started doing sales on the real estate side. So I've led teams, being in leadership for a while now. Now I'm building homes as well. I'm a residential builder with Crown Village Homes. I own Crown Village Homes, one of the only female owned and operated building companies here in DFW. And I also have a real estate team, Key Element Network. And that's what we do. I'm all about real estate. I love it. I don't think I've ever done anything else.
Great. So yeah. I love that you and we interviewed I didn't say interview. We hosted a podcast with another real estate professional. She's in Utah and started it the exact same way as a transaction coordinator. Got her license, and out of nowhere, someone came to say, "Hey, would you mind listing my house?" And she said, and then she saw the transaction coordinator check, and she saw this commission check, and she goes, I think I can do that. And we all come from different backgrounds usually, but I mean, it sounds like right out of the gate, you were somehow involved in real estate.
Yes. And the great part, when you have that transaction coordinator background, your job is to know the forms, right? To know the contract. You actually guide a lot of agents through those transactions. And the volume of transactions that you close is so much higher than your average agent. My team was closing 2,000 transactions a year doing transaction coordinating. So the level of experience that you get just by volume, it just doesn't compare. So I always say I had a very unfair advantage, right, over a lot of realtors because I came with all of that knowledge even before I was licensed.
I love that. I mean, and then you know where to dot the I's and cross the T's. And you brought that experience. You probably saw deals that weren't too good, and you saw really seamless transactions that went really well and learned from that. I love it.
Yeah.
So you're a team lead and you have agents, and then you're a female developer there in the Dallas Fort Worth area. You're wearing a lot of hats. I love it. How do you time management? What's one of the keys for you?
A lot of calendaring, which somehow this one got missed.
That's okay.
A lot of calendaring. I say if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen. But if you're going to do a lot, you just have to be very disciplined with your time. So my calendar, everything is time. Every minute has to have a name. I can't waste time. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to produce. Right now, we're about to start a group with about 20 plus women here in DFW doing the 12-week year. And I have set my goals following the 12-week year method, the book for a few years now. So you actually get to do 4 years in one. But that has allowed me to really stay focused. But you have to be so good with your time management. You have to have discipline with your time.
Right. I was told early
Yeah.
on in my career, you manage your weeks, then you start managing your days, and then as you become more
Mm-hmm.
successful, you start managing your hours. And like you just shared with everyone here, you're managing your minutes. So again, thank you for taking time
Mm-hmm.
out of your busy schedule. I know it's a Monday, we're playing catch up, but thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today and share your area of expertise. As a residential agent, we'll separate the building side, but on the
Mm-hmm.
residential side, what percentage of your business is coming from listings versus buy side representation?
I would say like 80% is really listings, and I don't do a lot on the buy side. My team mostly does the buy side, and I mainly work with investors. That's kind of like my niche. Investors and builders are my main, I guess, lead source. So that makes me just have more listings, and they give me
Gotcha.
multiple listings a year.
I love that. I love that. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
an investor and I come to you, describe the relationship, how we would work together for any investors out there. I know we have a lot of investors that watch this.
Mm-hmm.
How would we work together as an investor and you, the real estate professional?
Well, I think one of the things that separates me is that I understand the investment world and I speak their language. I can guide them. There's a lot of people that want to get into investment, right? And they don't even know how to start. But I've already been in the investment world. I'm an investor myself. I'm a builder myself. So I have resources that other realtors don't have because I'm already in that world. So one of my value proposition for my investors is if they're not that experienced, you have somebody that has experience that can guide you. I have already a portfolio of contractors that are vetted, right, for years, that I worked for years. I have loan companies that do a lot of creative financing as well. So it's all about the connections that you have within like the investment world, and me being able to understand, right? Also, you just kind of develop a different eye for that. And that's one of the biggest things that investors say. It's hard for them to work with a realtor because the realtors don't understand the investment side of things.
Uh, Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and you have that background. You know the terms, the vernacular,
Mhm.
the just the verbiage that allows you to speak to that culture. And again, I say it almost every podcast. There's riches and niches, and you found
Mhm.
this very unique niche. But also as a builder, how did you get into the building business?
So I believe in manifesting. I think I've manifested everything I wanted in my life. And 5 years ago, I wrote this letter, and now everything in this letter has come true. So the building kind of fell on my lap because it was something that I had already planned, but it started really from a joke. I can't remember what was happening in the market during that time, but I jokingly said to my best friend, I said, you know what? There's no listings. I should build my own. And then we just laughed about it. And then I kind of sat with me and I was like, you know what? Why don't I build my own? So
Right.
it started kind of like that joke, and that thought entered my mind. And then a couple years later, because I was working with investors, a friend of mine says, hey, I started building homes. And I was like, what do you mean? So I started in partnership with him. He was having some problems with his current partner. I had some capital. And I said, I will put the capital for the build, but if you got to teach me how to build. So I learned a little bit with him. And then I decided to go solo because I realized I wasn't learning as much as I wanted to learn. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I just have to jump. I have to jump, and I cannot give myself permission to fail. So I just went head first and I did my first build and learned along the way.
Right.
Recommend that for everybody. But that was the quickest way I learned. And I went from building on my own. I started building 3 years ago, building my first home, being so nervous when I was done to the point where I just had like a whole anxiety attack, to now I build consistently like about 15 homes a year.
15 homes. Now, are these tract homes or these spec individual properties?
they're spec homes. So we buy land and then we build the home, and we're good at like finding areas that are growing. And then we just kind of develop that area. So right now we're doing a lot of building in a community called Glanbury, Texas, and there's just a lot of growth there. There was so much land undeveloped there, so we bought a lot of land and we pretty much built out the whole community.
Wow. Do you do the entitlement? Does your team do the entitlement and set up water, gas, all the utilities, or do you have someone special on your team that does that, or how's that work?
Yeah, so it's much easier for us here, right? Because we're outside of city limits, so it's much easier to go through that. But yeah, we get the water set up and we get utilities set up and everything. Now, this community already had like the main lines and everything in there, right? Like the lots are ready to build. We just have to now call the water and get those utilities turned on.
Right. So dry utilities, wet
Hmm.
utilities, etc. And what city or town did you say that was in?
Granbury, Texas. It's super
Granbury,
cute
Texas.
lake
So
town.
so
Yeah.
for those of us who are geographically challenged, and I'll raise my hand, I
Hmm.
know, let's say Dallas Fort Worth is right here. Is it east, west, north, south of Dallas Fort Worth?
It is west going towards Abilene.
Oh, okay. I love Abilene.
West. It's west.
Yeah,
It's we're far from Abilene, but just kind of to point you to that direction, it's west.
yeah.
And it's a cute little lake town. Christmas movies have been filmed there. Super cute town. It used to be mainly retirement, town, but so many new families because they've been priced out of Fort Worth because it's just now gotten so expensive. Many families are now moving to the outskirts cities. In Granbury is one of the cities that has had like really big growth, and we were able to capitalize on that and now provide new homes at an affordable price. We try to stay below 300,000,
Okay.
and now we're seeing more younger families move to the area.
Wow, that the affordability is such a big issue right now,
Hmm.
especially across the United States. Do you buy large parcels of land and subdivide, or are you buying one parcel at a time?
So this community where we're building, they were already subdivided, um, but we are definitely planning to actually develop a whole community in Fort Worth, Texas. That's in the works, and that's one where we will have to start from the ground.
Wow, okay. I love this. Wow, that I mean, you're doing so much there. Got to ask you, people are moving to Texas. Where are they moving from?
So a lot of people move from California. I myself am a California transplant. So a lot of
Right.
people move from California. A lot of people from New York as well. We see a lot from New York, North Carolina, Virginia's. A lot of military people come here as well. So,
Right, right. I
mhm,
love Northwest Texas. I've got family in Denver,
mhm,
Colorado, but that Northwest Texas, I think, is about a 6 hour drive to
mhm.
Denver. So, I don't want to get too close to family, but, ultimately I see when my grandsons are older moving that way. But don't worry, I'm not going to take the California values and bring them to Texas. I hear that a lot as well.
Yeah.
In the fact that you're a developer, I mean, what a great way to get listings, right?
Yes, yeah. And I mean that already like puts me in good standing with a lot of investors. They want to do what I'm doing, right? And I'm all about helping people. One of my goals this year was how many people, like the more people I help do what they want to do, the more that I get to do what I want to do. So I started the year with that thought. I was like, who can I help get to where they want to be? So I have a lot of investors say, hey, I want to get to building. So I started we're testing out this program where now I'm coaching people that want to learn how to build, and we just do like a consulting fee or something like that, right?
Right.
And we have our first, actually, we have two now, two students who are one just broke ground on his first build, and I have another one pulling permits on his build. So we're testing out the program, and the hope is to roll it out. And people that want to learn how to build, why not give them that formula? They don't have to, spend years figuring out what I had to learn
Right. And
on my
and
own.
and
So,
so two things I've heard. You sort of start with that helping others attitude, that
mhm,
servant attitude, starting
mhm,
with helping someone. And then like you, I'm a big, big believer in the manifestation process. What your mind can
mhm,
conceive, it can achieve.
mhm,
It's a biblical principle. And Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. They say it's what's between the ears that's the most powerful tool we have out there. That's exciting to hear. You also have a really, really strong social media presence. How did that come about? What are you doing out there in social media that you can share with, our listeners and viewers?
Honestly, I am such an introverted person, and people always laugh when I say I'm an introvert. They don't believe me.
I don't believe you.
I'm like, I'm an introvert at heart. So I think for me, social media became like my outlet to really show my personality because I was very shy around, other people. And honestly, social media has really helped me break out of my own shell and get out of my own way, if you will. I remember when Facebook Live was first kind of like starting, right? And I challenged myself to be uncomfortable and I challenged myself to go live for 30 days. And I can't even watch my first videos now because I'm so embarrassed to watch
Right.
them. But I have seen that evolution, not only just me being comfortable, being in front of the camera. And I think that just because I showed up so authentically, people kind of gravitated towards that. I'm a big believer in attracting your tribe. So I'm always me. I'm never going to try to be who I'm not. And I was like, well, this is what I am. I'm not the most beautiful, but I have this personality and I know this. And I think a lot of it really came from wanting to help realtors because a lot of my content is inspirational, is about mindset. And I do plan on posting more about tips for realtors, especially beginning realtors, on how they can grow their career. But yeah, I didn't set out to do that, but just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, you would never know it. You're so eloquent. You're so articulate. You've got a presence that just emanates it through your social media online. I would think you've been on social media since it started. Again, in like attracts like, and
Mhm.
I hear it all the time. Two things that I heard from you. So now it's four among all the other amazing things I've heard is number one, and this is a common theme with all the successful real estate professionals I talk to, is be your organic, authentic self. All right. Don't try and change your personality to fit your prospect or the person you're talking to. Just be your organic, authentic self, and people will recognize that. And if it's not a good fit, that's fine, but it's better to get that out of the way early rather than later. And then again, the manifesting and writing it down and time management, you're the complete package. If you had to describe a typical work day, work week, what does it look like for you?
That's part of my breathing. Really, I always start my day. I love Jim Rohn. He is like my mentor for life.
Yeah.
And the first thing I do daily is listen to Jim Rohn. I won't even start my day without feeding my mind first because this industry is hard. And unless you're feeding your mind, you can't go out and pour to others. So that's my number one thing. And then typically I meet with my team. We do a Zoom meeting. Then I go out to the work site. I meet with realtors that want to join my network, and I share with them, about the brokerage and how they can join me in partnership. And then I do some transaction things and paperwork. Like I'm still handling a lot of it. You know what I mean? Myself. I mean, my next step is hiring an assistant. I was just talking about that. I was like, I
Right.
need to hire an assistant because
Right.
I'm doing a lot, and that's probably my downfall, that I'm somebody that can do a lot. But sometimes when you are somebody that can do a lot and you're very great at time management too, you can take on too much on your plate. So I'm actually learning to just be able to let go more.
And that's one of the challenges to growing your business is if you're like me, I like having things under control. I want to dot the I's, cross the T's myself. But at the same time, at some point, we have to make that jump in order to have a scalable, successful business model. And so
Yeah,
delegation is a big part of it. And a lot of times I admittedly impatient because by the time I teach them how to do it, I could have got it completed in half the time. But remember, other
mm-hmm.
people gave us opportunities, so we have to if we want to have a scalable, profitable business, we have to be willing to delegate. So you work, work, work.
100%.
Yeah, you work, 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 work. What are you doing for fun out there?
You know what? I love my work. That's fun to me.
I
I
agree.
really do. I don't feel like I'm like working. I don't wake up every day and I'm like, oh, I gotta go to work. I don't think I've ever had that feeling. I really truly enjoy everything that has to do with real estate. Like I have such a passion for it that I feel fulfilled in that. But if I ever do catch a little minute, I'm a big foodie. I love to go try like different restaurants. I'm always like, oh, this place opened up. I have a whole list on my phone with like notes, like this is the place where I want to go next and experience. That's my way of, I guess, of experiencing different cultures too, but just trying like different foods. I think you can learn a lot about a culture by trying their food. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So
yeah.
now begs the question, what's the most recent restaurant you went to? What'd you like about it? Give them a little shout out if you had to tell us one.
I am actually here. I am sitting at Indian Grill in Arlington, and we just had some really, really amazing tikka masala and some really great curry. And the food here is great. So if you're in DFW and you're in Arlington, come check out Indian Grill in the Highlands.
I definitely will. I've got some, I have some personal coaching clients in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I get out there about once every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I love Texas, period.
Yeah.
A side note here. Is it, I got to ask you if maybe you're familiar with it. Is it Buc-ee's or Bookies? What's that gas station that
Oh
has
my God, it's Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's. You cannot do a road trip without going to Buc-ee's. It's mandatory. If you're in Texas, it's mandatory.
I did. I did. I mean, and it was just, and how do you pronounce it again correctly?
Buc-ee's.
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 I mean, I've got hats, I've got patches. I love their chili verde sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my daughter's blankets and you name it. But I mean, I could have spent 2 hours in there. I probably did.
Yes.
And
yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. If you know, you know. If you know, you
Yes.
know. Yeah. So Buc-ee's, I encourage people to do that. Indian Grill there in Arlington.
Yes.
All right. All right. You got a sports team? Anything? Do you have time to watch any sports, or what's your another hobby?
Actually, yeah. I mean, actually, I go to the Rangers games. Love my Tyler Reds. They're always treating me to either the suite or just super front row tickets. So I've kind of been getting more into the Rangers. I just went to a Rangers game not long ago. I was so close I could touch the dirt on the field.
What?
Yes,
Wow.
and I was sitting right next to where they go into their locker room.
Okay.
So that was a fun experience.
Great. Dallas Cowboys or Houston Texans?
I'm not too much into football, but I'm going to have to say Dallas or I might get crucified. If I don't say the
true.
Cowboys,
That's
I might
true.
get crucified.
Houston's far south from there. You can't go wrong
canceled. I'm going to get canceled if I don't say Dallas.
No. You love all things Texas sports. You love all things Texas sports. Circling back, one person, a mentor that's been really influential in your career?
For me, honestly, like Jim Rohn is like my ultimate mentor, right? I think a long time ago, I also learned that your mentors don't have to be like people in front of you. They can be somebody that you admire. And for me, that was Jim Rohn, and I feel like every single mindset coach that's out here now, they all got it from Jim Rohn. So he has really been influential in my life. And I preach it to people all the time. Listen to Jim Rohn, listen to Jim Rohn.
Yep.
So that's my go-to person. My current person that has really been coaching me lately, his name is Jesse Garcia out of Milwaukee. We've been in partnership now, and he's helping me grow my network. He's teaching me other skills that I didn't have. And he's been a great mentor to me. And now I recently joined partnership with Eddie Garcia, who is the owner of Realty of America. And also he already owns the largest brokerage in Chicago. So amazing people. And I'm excited, for the partnerships and the opportunities of growth here in the next future.
That's
in the near future.
That's so exciting. I mean, I believe I'm a big believer in coaching. I mean, I think you have a coach in pretty much all aspects of your life, a relationship coach, a financial coach, a health coach, real estate coach, mindset coach. I mean, you look at the top athletes and out there, the Tiger Woods, et cetera, and they've got a swing coach, they've got a mental coach. And I think coaching, I know I had a coach, a long time ago before coaching was cool. And people ask me, do you think coaching works? I said, well, it did for me, because they bring an experience and a knowledge and a calmness. And I was paying in today's dollars about $2,500 a month. And I had my best my best years ever when I had a coach. So I love
Yes,
coaching and
I fully
coach.
believe in that too.
Yeah.
I do have a life coach. He's out of Florida. I've never met him in person, but we always do Zoom sessions. And I always say I'm never going to do business without a life coach or without a therapist because you need to. Like your business will only grow as much as you grow. And I am a true believer in that because we literally, like I said, it's all in here. We are the ones that get in our own way. So if you don't have somebody who's seen it with a bird's eye view, it's kind of hard for you sometimes, right, to get out of your own way. So my life coach has just also been instrumental for me in growing and doing what I want to do.
Right. For me, I've got a couple and they're an accountability partner for me. And
Mm-hmm.
they give you that 10,000-foot view and they're
Mm-hmm.
not afraid to call me on my BS per se. And,
Yes.
I mean, the old acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, like 80% of the things I worry about never come into existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reminded, don't worry about that. Just focus, control the controllables is what I always hear. So I'm a big believer in coaching. And obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you've surrounded yourself with some amazing coaches, which is, again, I'm a big proponent of. Flor, you're awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share your information with us. So, for all these people out there watching, listening, how do we get a hold of you? If you want to buy something, in Texas, if you want to look at her developments, if you want to get a blueprint on how to become a developer, how do we get a hold of you?
Like I said, social media is my go-to place. Instagram, it's Floor's World _. Facebook, it's Floor's World TX as in Texas. And that's where you'll find me. I'm very active in social media. If you message me, I will DM you back.
I
So,
love that. I
yes.
love that. I love that. So you're authentic, you
Mm-hmm.
return calls. I hear about that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I left a message, I gave an offer, I didn't hear back, or I want to list my house, or I want this person to represent me in the buy side. I can't believe how much communication is just everyone thinks it's a text. No, pick up your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up your
Mm-hmm.
phone, answer the call. I love that about you. I love your authenticity. I love that you're diversified. Um, have you ever are you involved at all in NAREP, NAHREP?
Actually, I just became, I'm just now in partnership with one of the presidents of NARIP. So yes, I haven't been very involved with them in the past, but that's something that's going to change just because my time didn't allow to.
Yeah,
But now I'm just in a different place where I have that time, and now we're in partnership with them. So definitely, you'll definitely be seeing me more with NARIP.
great. What I'm going to do is we're going to wrap this up here. I'm going to have some contact information that I'll put in afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Flor, I'm so happy we could connect. I followed you on social media. I love everything that you're doing and what you're doing for not just women, but Hispanic women out there. What a role model you're providing. And for men, let me say, I mean, I'm not going to venture out into developing, but you've motivated me to look at that as well. So you're
Thank you. Thank you.
inspirational, you're authentic, you communicate. I love the manifesting. I love your time management. You're the complete package out there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
All
And then if
right.
anybody wants to know anything about, Realty of America, it is the first largest Hispanic owned nationwide brokerage. This the first one. So
And they're
anybody wants
headquartered.
to get in the movement, send me a message. I would love to be in partnership.
Okay, that's Realty of America, and they're headquartered out of San Diego.
No, no. So
Oh,
they're from in Chicago.
okay,
And then we have Mark Dimas, who is in Houston.
okay,
So we have strategic and anchor partners in every state.
outstanding. So that's Realty of America. Obviously, if
Realty of
you've
America.
joined them, we know they're top notch.
Oh,
So
100%. Their leadership is amazing. I wasn't even looking for a brokerage, but when I met with Eddie, I was like, I have to be part of this. Their leadership is everything that I stand for. They align with my values, and I was like, I have to be part of this.
well, they're lucky to have you. They're really lucky to have you. Um, this is a must stop for me. So next time I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth, maybe we can meet at an Indian restaurant, or if you have time, or we can go out and look at one of your developments and talk a little more in depth. Flor, again, thank you for
100%.
taking time out of your schedule. I'm going to put your contact information up after this. Again, you're just inspiring, you're motivating, you're the complete package. I can't wait to circle back and talk to you maybe 6 months, a year from now, and see what amazing things you've done. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
My pleasure.
Definitely say hi when you come.
I will.
Bye.
Thank you, Flor.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.